What's up guys, this is Shirei talking, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I will show you how I defeated an Abyssal Deathmatch 7 Heroes Challenge stage. And yes, this is about the challenge stage because the romancing stage cannot be beaten right now. No one has done it yet in this server. Because it was not supposed to be released at this time. On JP they had better status. But we'll get more content, higher status cap in the future, other characters as well, so we may try this later. But the challenge stage and the romancing stages are pretty different. The boss mechanics are different. Romancing is much harder. But challenges, probably the last place that people will be able to defeat. So let's talk about this. There are plenty of different things happening on this fight. First of all, the 7 heroes are not weak to anything. And they can cast a lot of ailments on you. So you have to prepare, try to defend versus all damage types besides Sun, because that's it. The only type that they won't use against you is Sun. And Sun is also a good element to bring here if you have, but you should also think about the best type of damage dealer that does not need to land weak attacks. In this fight, you'll be buff broken a lot. That's why using Muse is very nice. He will work just the same way. He can also buff ailment resistance, much like Muse, but she does not buff all status, so you get a little less effect, but in the end, it's just similar. And then we have here Esper, because we need buff break. This boss can buff and debuff you, so if they are buffing too much, it will become a big problem. Esper is here to stop that from happening. We have Leon, because Leon fixes another problem of this boss. Every time they attack you, they will be decreasing your status by 5%, and then Leon will be buffing 5% back. And then Muse does something else here. She removes debuffs. That's why she's also better than Key. The best replacement for Muse is Sirius, because Sirius can buff break, he can also remove debuffs, and then you can replace Esper with someone else. Paulus is a good one because he also buff breaks and debuffs, but you may actually go with someone else's, like people use it. Real Queen here, I think Summer Roulette could theoretically work. James can also work. So if you're using Sirius, you have a little more space. My damage dealer was Therese, because Therese is such a great damage dealer. She does enough damage for neutral. She has frozen arrows, and after she uses this 3 times, she'll be chasing 4 times, and she can cast lots of defensive buffs like defense boost and will love and charisma buffs. But the enemy will be buff breaking you a lot because of Therese as well. You cannot buff too much, but I don't know. It was the way I made it work. Then we have Shirei, because Shirei also buffs status every turn, but they use buff break after. And Shirei can give BP to all of your characters, also increasing attack and defense boost by quite a large amount. He also helps Therese get into overdrive a lot. Sometimes she can get into overdrive every single turn, but when she doesn't, he's already increasing damage output by so much. So this is the squad, and if you don't have Leon, you can also bring just the Final Impress. There is a mechanic on this fight where boss will use a skill called So Steel that can be evaded, but I don't have anyone here that evades. You can bring Al Kaiser with Glory Force, or the latest Impress with her healing, or even with Karatsu skill from her past version. But, well, I will have to deal with someone dying. It will probably be Muse during this fight, and I am prepared. The forms that will fight before the final one has a lot of chances of inflicting ailments on you. The last form has a little less chance because it will use just so many different attacks that the ailment attack can be the last one, and by that point you already debuff it or buff it yourself. But it's still dangerous, and still there's some RNG involved. And Shirei will have some BP problems. Sometimes I will be using my Leon skill number 2, Merciful Light, to give more BP so that he can keep casting stuff. And I don't know if Kihachi can replace Therese. Oh, offensively, yes, not defensively. But she may trigger last buff breaks. If you use her, please say here on the comments section. As for replacement for Shirei, I don't know, maybe Harji will work, but Harji does not buff. But not buffing too much can also help reduce the chances of buff break. I'm not so sure. But as for equipments, I brought all of this to my characters to try to decrease damage taken. As you can see, I tried to decrease for all status. But you know that you cannot protect after everything when a character has their personal weaknesses, and, you know, 7 elements is too much. But I tried my best here. With all that said, let's go to the fight. Okay, the fight starts, and the thing we need to understand is that the first 6 forms are easy. That's right, because they have a small HP gauge. Then the last form has like all gauges combined. And each new form will have a new hero appearing in the center of this giant blob. Things that we need to understand. They will be removing all the buffs every end of turn. They get this action order up that stacks. They have very high speed. And in certain turns they will get hit ups. That is every 2 turns. When landing spell attacks and skill attacks, they will be self-buffing but also debuffing us. That's why Leon is so good here, because we also buff 5% when we are hit. That's exactly what they are trying to debuff. And by use of Muse, Muse removes debuffs by the end of turn, so that debuffs are not as high as they could have been if they keep stacking. Then also an attack boost, as you can see here. Another character that will work super well is Sirius, because Sirius can buff break and also debuff cleans. But I don't have Sirius, so that's why I'm not using him. The attack boost is to eventually just, you know, have enough damage, even if you are using a lot of defensive boosts. Now that we know how this works, well, the first turn, they will just cast a skill. That's not really important. You should just use whatever or just save BP if you want. For example, I would just use a normal attack with Esper. Shirei can simply... No, you can start with Rainbow Flowering Strings or just use triple light arrows. Because of the amount of BP he generally gets, I can use this first. Then Muse will always be using Prayer of Heavenly Light. Always. Leon, he can give more BP by use of Merciful Light, so that my Therese has enough BP to use Frozen Arrows again. Therese is very useful here because she also buffs defensive status. And sometimes we will be buffing too much, and then they will be buff breaking us. It seems like if you reach around 700 very small healings, you will be buff broken. But yeah, first turn they also do this. All forms will have some sort of ailment. It's like every new form has more attacks. And Rock Bouquet here, she already tries to charm and stuff. Okay, first turn, it's simple. It's just preparing. See, we are healing around 300, 400. When we get close to 700, they will be buff breaking us again. But Esper can always keep using Witch Strike, because eventually some forms will be buffing more because of the skill also buffing. So Shirei can keep using Rainbow Flowering Strings, Muse, Prayer of Heaven and Light, and now Leon will be using Imperial Sun's Word every time he can. There is one important thing that will happen in the last form. They will be able to use a skill called Soul Steal that you can evade. That is good if you have Alkaiser or the latest Final Impress and use the evasion. But I can't deal with that because I have Shirei. If someone of your party dies, Shirei will give you 3 turns to handle the situation. And it will probably be Muse. You'll probably die because that skill will count for your aggro, and she's increasing her aggro by being in the front line. Well, Therese is not on overdrive yet. Let's see if she gets. If she does, she's totally going to finish the 7 hero now. Let's do it. That's her 3rd stack of Frozen Arrows, meaning that in the next OG she'll have 4 chases. It was okay for me to leave Muse behind in the end of the fight when I was streaming. Now I will see if it will be okay again. Okay, that's the end of the first form. Could have also just tried to wait for next turn to unleash my Therese damage, but well, I don't want to keep this fight for too long as well. And When they change form, they usually buff break you again. I'm not entirely sure if this is guaranteed or just has a very high chance to happen, or if they still check your status. So let's go and use whatever we have here. Being up with the best skills. I try to use Merciful Light every 5 turns at least, so that you get more BP. And after Therese is her full potential, you can keep using Rapid Fire if you have, because this will give her 2 stacks of her passive. So that's nice, we got a 4-character combo. If you manage to deplete the full dodge with just, using characters attacking 2 times, that would be awesome, because you can actually save the overdrive dodge. Let's see. Well, it was not exactly half. If I was for sure doing enough damage, I would just have skipped my OG turn. But I'm not so sure if I'll be able to. So it is still better to use overdrive with Therese. You don't actually have to use Shirei skill. I can use triple light arrows. Leon is not going to attack because we will be finished with this. Well, she'll be buffing a lot as well, and this form will be gone. The first form is Rock Bouquet. The second one is ScherBR. It looks like Kazinsi, but it's not. That's what people told me. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, that's another form gone. But the fight is not about this forms anyway. We reached the last one. That's the problem. But you can see that we are buffing too much. I am sure that they are going to use buff break on me. It's fair, I'm buffering breaking then every single turn as well. Now, no appeared. So they will have more physical attacks now. Each new form has new attacks based on the character that appears on this giant blob. Sure, we are getting some buff break here. If we are not, we can even keep using overdrive on the next turn. Dark Wash removes status from Leon, but Leon's not my main damage dealer. Oh, that is awesome. I would not be using overdrive with Therese because I would try to actually skip the next form by just doing damage on the first turn. So with Strick, Rainbow, this, I have to use all of my best skills. That's why instead of Rapid Fire, I'm going to use Frozen Arrows because it deals more damage. I just need to be fast. Remember that the 7 heroes also has action order increase, meaning that they can still attack before us and buff break us before we can do damage. But we are also buffing so much that our agility is pretty high. Who goes first? I don't know. So far, it was just the fastest skills going first. Awesome, Esper went first. Even if it buff breaks now, I will deplete this HP gauge. No, I will not. See? Damage was scaled back by so much. My status were just so high in that point. If Therese was a little faster, she wasn't. That is okay. I will not overdrive again for sure because it's almost dying anyway. And then the next turn I will have full overdrive again. We buffed so many times because of Leon, Shirei, and Muse. Even Therese, but I want offensive status. Shirei, you're going to use triple light arrows here. I'm going to use Merciful Light to give some BP to Shirei. Could have used her other skill, Rapid Fire, because that will have buffed my dexterity. But I'm sure that I will have enough damage. this time she went before boss. Who knows, right? It's all RNG. We'll be skipping the next form because damage will be too high. That's the end target. Getting more AoE attacks physical usually. Knockout comes from the end target. Now let's use the best skills. Rapid fire. Doesn't really change much, to be honest. Rapid fire buffs dexterity, but skill 3 also buffs pierce and cold damage. Damage is high again. Funny thing is that when you use rapid fire, the second hit of rapid fire can appear anywhere in the combo. It was this last attack. But we skip it in Tar's form. Not that it was dangerous or anything, it's just that the less you allow them to attack, the better. And now that's Wagner's appearing. Yeah, it's Wagner's. So let's keep using our best skills. Okay, that's turn 10. I still have Merciful Light. Let me use it to give VP to everyone. Use buffing ailment resistance is just so good here. You can see that they didn't buff break me. That's good because I will use overdrive here just to finish this form as well. No one will be able to attack because Therese will finish off. My status will be very high, and then the second to last form, you'll be able to do a lot of damage. $300,000 per hit on overdrive is kind of like almost the max for this series. The max I saw was 400,000, but in different situation. We are doing neutral damage, so damage is much lower than attacking. Enemy weakness. Okay, so that's Bolcon appearing. I also think it's nice to start the last form with full overdrive, and I'll explain why. Because in the last form, they will use an attack that is before you even have a chance to act. They will choose one of your characters and instantly kill it. It should probably be Muse, because it respects the aggro formation. And the character with the highest chance of being hit here is Muse. So, should be removed from the party. But Shirei can revive, and Shirei also has the passive where if someone dies, he blocks damage on the next turn. But that's not what I want, to be honest. He didn't buff break me. But I don't want to use my overdrive because of what I just explained it. So hopefully we'll do enough damage here by, I don't know. Split Blaze can do more damage than Witch Strike if it gets more hits. So I'm gonna bet on this. And I'll also use Frozen Arrows because it deals more damage. If we can deplete the Gouge, we'll have a very great start. Starting the last form with 14 turns only, and with full overdrive is amazing. Oh, that's great. She's going to attack 3 times. Or is she? 1, 2, 3. Yes! And even with the chase, Therese didn't even need to attack. Great. Look at my healings. Passing through the 800s. Insane. Now this is the last form. And Kazinsi appeared. And he is the one that can do these tricks. So, still will happen at some point. We'll just have to deal with it. But now that we are on overdrive, we can use Switch Trick. Then we are prepared to revive someone, because someone will die. It is probably Muse. So, use Ray of Hope on Muse. This is a preparation. And with Muse, use Prayer of Purity, because if it's not Muse, she can revive whoever is. And with the other characters, the usual stuff. From now on, Therese will be using Rapid Fire, because this will give us more defense boosts. They will also buff break us in the start of this fight, you can be sure. But, oh, it was not Muse. It was actually Esper. But she's back already. Well, we lost what we did. Well, we just have a damage block on Muse at least. It's not a guarantee, but has a very high chance of being Muse. Removing my buffs, like I said. But it's not a problem, especially since I have OG with Esper. I don't think I need to use this OG. I will wait when I have Therese as well. Next turn I'll have Therese. Oops, back to Prayer of Heavenly Light. I can use Merciful Light to give VP to everyone. We're probably going to need. But when you do that, you get less defense boosts. But I applied many with Therese in the past turn. I think we are safe. Especially now with Shirei using his own. This buff broke us yet again. Now they will be using buff break much more often. Don't worry, keep buffing. They use a spell, sometimes we get some extra BP. This farm uses a lot of spells as well. My Maelstrom is not a spell. Muse doesn't take much damage if you see. It's because of the defense boost, of course. Having 2 characters on overdrive already increases damage output. It is considered a combo. That's what we are going to do. Sometimes Therese will get into overdrive every single turn if they are using AoEs. He's also buffing Endurance and Will by quite a lot when she's attacking. That's why buff breaks happen a lot. And also why Muse helps so much, because when you lose your Will buffs, you are doomed. I don't know if this was enough to give overdrive to Therese. It was. Great. This Esper outside of overdrive. It's okay. Great. A lot of damage. Close to 400,000 here. It's pretty hard to get that amount of damage because 7 Heroes keeps buff breaking. He just did. But at least Esper was able to debuff then. Damage is very low, but it's because of Therese being able to attack 2 times on overdrive, one after another. I like when they use AoEs because of that. Use more AoE, please. If she gets hit 2 times, she already gets into OD. That's yet another one. This turn I'll be using Merciful Light because I want to give VP to Shirei so that he never stops using his best skill. It's not because of the healings. We have too many healings already. Witch Trick went first. That's good because he debuffs Hindrance as well. And our damage will be a little better. Still not as high as it could have been. Getting close to 50% of the HP gauge. I'm not so sure, but it looks like each turn is a little more towards one of the characters. And then Kazinsi being the last one, he will prepare his Soul Steel when it's his turn. And his Soul Steel takes all LP from the character. It will die. This time I don't think Therese will get into overdrive. He did not. I will use another Merciful Light. No. I have less defense boost this turn. OVP is still nice because it increases my Therese damage. If I can keep casting Shirei's skill, he gives attack and defense boost on 50% levels. Leon attack boost is much weaker. Oh, they didn't buff break. No, at least she's buffing a little bit of dexterity here. She will do it again. That's because I was celebrating. Everyone is on overdrive, but not Esper. The good thing is that Shirei's skills is fast. So he's still going to increase the damage. Oh, nice. Therese is probably going to do 300,000 per hit. That is okay. Yes. Use AoE, Therese needs to be hit 2 times. Very bad turn. Okay, ouch. This means that this turn someone is going to die. And I don't know, I hope it's Muse. If she dies, it's okay. This turn I don't have enough BP. I have to use Merciful Light one last time. If it's Muse, we are okay with it. If it Espers, it's dangerous because they can self-buff and I will lose my buff break. If it's Leon as well, it's okay. It was Muse. So she's totally gone from the fight. Now we'll have 3 turns where we won't be taking damage, but ailments will be the problem. Although we have Shirei and Leon allowing us to buff. As long as we buff break every single turn, it will be okay. This could have been avoided by using Impress or Alkaiser, but, well, this didn't really work so well for me when I brought Alkaiser, because I could not bring Esper. I could not have space in the party. Rapid Fire because it casts more defensive boosts. Turns of no taking damage. Oh, her damage is just so bad now. See that Euthanize buffs their intelligence? At least I just buff broke. They have higher intelligence, they will land ailments. Since I don't need to care too much about damage, Therese can actually use her skill tree now. Yeah, a lot more damage now. Buff break. As long as you use another AoE. Okay, Therese will be on overdrive once more. Totally will. Ailments did land. You can see. I think at this point it's better for me to use the Rapid Fire because it will buff Dexterity for the next turn. Then I use Frozen Arrows, my next overdrive. That will probably be the last one, I hope. Finishing this in 25 turns. $25 or $26? Okay, Therese will be on overdrive. This is the last turn that we have protection. But you can see we're not being inflicted with ailments. It's strange, but the last form is not as bad as some of the solo forms for ailments. It's because of the randomized damage type. They choose physical skills and then something else, and Leon is always helping us a little, alongside Esper. At this point, I'm gonna use Frozen Arrows again because I want damage. It will totally buff break us right after this, so Rapid Fire doesn't help much. Yeah, this won't end on this turn, but the next one will be. It could have been bad. Yes, exactly. Because I used Esper on overdrive on this turn, and they buff broke us. It may not be a good case to use buff break. I mean, to use Esper on overdrive because of this, but it's also the end. Therese got to overdrive. But Shirei got inflicted with charm. Everything could have gone wrong here in the end. It was also the order of the enemy attacks. Let's do this, Therese. Finish this off. Yes. As you can see, there is still some RNG in the fight to allow someone to die, but later I'll be making a strategy via evasion where no one will die in the end, but since this was the first squad I used it, I wanted to showcase how it works. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you use a different squad, share here in the comment section. I hope to see you soon on the next video or live stream. Goodbye.